Did you know that the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest in 9 AD was such a major defeat for the Romans that it effectively halted their expansion into Germania for centuries? Join me as I dive into the chaos of the Battle of Teutoburg Forest and try to piece together exactly what went down in this epic showdown. By the dawn of the 1st century AD, the Roman Empire was already an unstoppable force, with a reputation for conquering vast territories and absorbing diverse cultures into its vast dominion. Germany, or Germania as the Romans called it, was the next logical target in Rome's relentless expansion. The Roman Empire had already established a significant foothold in the region, with several key legions stationed along the Rhine River. It was only a matter of time before Rome would venture further east, and the Germanic tribes would have to confront the invading forces head-on. As Rome began to make its move into Germania, the Roman governor Publius Quinctilius Varus devised a strategy to pacify the region through a mix of diplomacy and military power. Varus, a seasoned politician and military commander, believed that Germania could be won over through a combination of negotiation and subtle coercion. However, his approach was increasingly resented by the native Germanic tribes, who saw Rome's expansion as a direct threat to their way of life. One of these tribes, the Cheruscan tribe, would soon emerge as a key player in the conflict to come. Tensions between the Romans and the Germanic tribes began to escalate as Varus's plans for pacification faltered. Roman patrols and supply convoys were increasingly targeted by Germanic raiders, who saw these incursions as an opportunity to test the Roman military's mettle. Meanwhile, a charismatic young chieftain named Arminius, who had received Roman military training, began to unite the disparate Germanic tribes against their common enemy. Arminius, who would later become a legendary figure in Germanic history, was determined to drive the Romans out of Germania once and for all. Meanwhile, Varus remained optimistic about his chances of success, despite the growing unrest among the Germanic tribes. He led a massive Roman force, comprising 3 legions and several auxiliary units, into the heart of Germania, intent on crushing any opposition to Roman rule. But Varus and his troops were walking into a trap carefully laid by Arminius and his allies. The stage was set for a brutal and decisive conflict. On a fateful day in September 9th AD, the Roman legions marched into the Teutoburg Forest, a dense and unforgiving terrain that would prove to be their undoing. The Germanic tribes, led by Arminius, had carefully chosen this ground, knowing that the dense forests and winding rivers would limit the Roman army's mobility and create chaos. As the Roman columns advanced deeper into the forest, they found themselves surrounded by an eerie silence, punctuated only by the snapping of twigs and the rustling of leaves. The battle began as a series of scattered skirmishes, with Germanic warriors emerging from the forest to harass and disrupt the Roman columns. The Roman legionnaires, clad in their heavy armor, struggled to respond effectively to the swift and agile Germanic attackers. As the fighting intensified, the Roman lines began to waver, and the once proud legions found themselves trapped in a desperate fight for survival. The Germanic tribes, fueled by their desire for independence, fought with a ferocity that the Roman army had never encountered before. The Roman cavalry, normally a decisive factor in open battles, proved helpless in the dense forest, where their horses were vulnerable to ambushes and their riders were exposed to deadly missile fire. Meanwhile, the Germanic warriors employed a range of unconventional tactics, including ambushes, hit-and-run attacks, and clever uses of terrain to outmaneuver their foes. As the battle raged on, the Roman army's discipline began to break down, and panic set in as the legionnaires realized they were vastly outnumbered and outmaneuvered. The Roman army's defeat was catastrophic. All 3 legions, as well as several auxiliary units, were annihilated, and their commanders, including Varus, either died in the fighting or took their own lives in shame. The Germanic tribes, on the other hand, had secured a stunning victory that would send shockwaves throughout the Roman Empire. The news of the Teutoburg Forest disaster spread like wildfire through the Roman Empire, triggering a wave of panic and recrimination. The Roman Emperor Augustus, who had already been wary of Varus's aggressive expansion plans, was left reeling from the scale of the defeat. He famously declared, "Quinctilius Varus, give me back my legions," a poignant expression of grief and anger that would haunt the Roman Empire for generations to come. The Teutoburg Forest disaster marked a profound shift in the balance of power between Rome and Germania. The Roman Empire would never again attempt to conquer Germania, and instead would focus on defending its existing borders against the resurgent Germanic tribes. The Germanic tribes, on the other hand, had asserted their independence and proved that they could resist even the mightiest of empires. In the centuries that followed, the Battle of Teutoburg Forest would assume legendary status, becoming a celebrated example of resistance against imperial aggression. Arminius, the young chieftain who had masterminded the Germanic victory, would become a national hero, his name etched into the annals of Germanic history as a symbol of bravery and cunning. Today, the Battle of Teutoburg Forest serves as a powerful reminder of the enduring struggle between empire and independence, a testament to the unyielding spirit of resistance that has defined human history. What do you think about the Battle of Teutoburg Forest? Do you believe that Arminius was a hero or a villain? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to check out our other videos on Roman history